darling heart, and welcome to this episode of the Drink Less, Live Better podcast. This is the podcast that helps you to see that drinking less doesn't need to be stressful, lonely, or boring. I'm your host, Sarah Williamson, and I decided to have a year alcohol-free as a little life experiment and haven't looked back. I'm here to support you with your alcohol-free or drink less adventures through one-to-one coaching. You can follow me on Instagram at drinklesslivebetter, find resources on my website, drinklesslivebetter.com, and buy my book, Drink Less, Live Better, in all the places you might buy a book. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. Let's get straight to it. Find your peace. I'd love to tell you I walk around in a permanent state of bliss. Making calm from chaos is my superpower, and inner peace is my natural state. Dear listener, if I did tell you this, I would be lying. I do enjoy moments of bliss. I'm sometimes delighted to find pockets of calm in my life where there used to be chaos, and peace, I do experience peace. But how do I find and hold my peace? I'm going to tell you, but first, a story. Yesterday, I was not peaceful. Yesterday, I made a small mistake, and yet it cost me a huge emotional spiral. I missed an appointment with somebody I had paid to see. I wrote the wrong time in my diary. I pretty much never do things like that. I live and die by my diary. I am a scheduler extraordinaire. As soon as an appointment is made, either personal or professional, it goes straight in the diary. Anyway, what can I tell you? I am human. I wrote 2:30 in my diary, and when I turned up at 2:25, I realised I was 25 minutes late instead of 5 minutes early. My stomach sank. I had a real physical feeling of deflation. In that moment, I really disliked myself. The internal monologue was brutal. Despite being quite self-aware, I really went to town on myself. How did you do that, you idiot? A simple scheduling task. You say you live and die by your diary, but you clearly don't. I caught myself quickly, but ouch. Okay, I thought. What to do? What practical steps can I take? I sent the person a message apologising, and I didn't offer any excuse. I'm sorry, I wrote the wrong time down. It was my mistake. My thoughts were racing, my shoulders were tight. I felt so strung out. But why? Sure, I stood to lose financially. I understood. I had missed my appointment and it was my fault, but I was being really hard on myself. I had a list of work I could continue with in the afternoon. I had a podcast to record, this one actually, and until today, this was not going to be the subject, so I suppose silver linings and all that. But I knew I wouldn't be able to concentrate on work. I thought about going for a walk, but I didn't want to. I thought about reading a book, but I didn't want to. I thought about calling a friend, but I didn't want to. I lay on the floor with Martha, my dog. I stroked her. I told her how much I loved her. I told her she is beautiful, and that did help. I wasn't trying to suppress my feelings or pretend everything's fine. I was trying to find a calm centre within myself, which was much harder yesterday than I usually find it. So, dear me, and anyone else who needs this, remember, if a situation threatens to overwhelm you, try this. Take a few slow, deep breaths and imagine you're drawing a protective circle of light around yourself. This is your space of peace, and you get to choose what energy you let in. And then call this to mind, the pause practice. When you feel tension rising, pause. Just for a moment, feel your feet on the ground, notice your breathing. This tiny pause can prevent reactive responses that you might later regret. Remember, you don't have to show up with a response to every circumstance. Sometimes holding your peace means literally holding your thoughts and words. Then think of this, the release ritual. Imagine yourself gently releasing any tension you've been carrying. You might visualize it floating away like autumn leaves, or watching something disappear on a stream, or dissolving like mist in the morning sun. Let go. Just let go. Or maybe this might help, the perspective shift. When you're feeling caught up in the immediate situation, zoom out. Imagine viewing the situation from a bird's eye view or a rear view mirror view. Ask yourself, will this matter next week? Am I letting this take up too much space in my heart? For those moments when your feathers are ruffled, try this gentle self-talk. I choose peace. These aren't just words, it's an intention, and that can help you guide you back to yourself. In that moment, when I was lying on the floor with Martha yesterday, I told her, I'm okay, it's okay, I choose peace. And do you know what? The person who I'd missed the appointment with messaged me and said, don't worry about it, we've all made a mistake like that, we're all human, let's rebook it, don't worry. In that moment, I let out a huge sigh and released all the tension I'd been holding on to. Today, find your peace. Hold your peace. Would you do something for me today? Would you review the podcast, please? Or drop me a DM or email with your feedback about the podcast. Thank you. Check out the show notes for a link to a hidden podcast episode that will help you with your 5 p.m. cravings and details about my one-to-one life coaching and sober coaching programs. And P.S. I believe in you.